All right, boys and girls, this is the last topic. Example 8, some problems from calculus. So basically what they want you to do is write each of the following as an algebraic expression in x. So how is this different than the others? Well, we can't use composition properties because once again, these trig functions are completely different. Okay, here we're using cosecant, here we're using tangent or tangent inverse or arctan. Okay, so a cosecant and a tangent just won't cancel out. And then what's different in example 7 from example 8 is now our angle is now an expression, so it's 2x. So basically, we are going to be using some of the same concept that we did earlier. So we're going to be using, again, we're going to be solving it algebraically, okay? Which for this one you cannot do graphically because we don't have an exact value. It's a term, if that makes sense, okay? So we're just going to be writing it as an algebraic expression, okay? So there's no actual there's solving, but you're not really actually going to come up with a value, if that makes sense. Okay, so here we go. So similar to what you did earlier, okay? So we're going to start off by calling this in here inside the parentheses u. So remember, u is arctangent of 2x. So I can rewrite this as tangent of, I'm going to move this up. Tangent of u, and tangent of u is the same as 2x, okay? So we know that much. So again, I'm just going a little bit, skipping some, well, not really skipping steps, okay? But just not writing everything, if that makes sense, okay? So now that I have this, I'm going to do the same thing as far as drawing a triangle. But now I don't have to worry about quadrants because this is an expression, so I wouldn't know where that's at. I don't know if it's positive, if it's negative. So we just draw a regular old right triangle, okay? I don't care how you draw it. It's just you're drawing a right triangle. So here we go. Again, your angle of reference has to be u, and remember u is always an acute angle, so it could be here, it could be here, it doesn't matter, okay? So we'll just write it there, okay? All right, tangent represents opposite over adjacent, okay? So I'm going to write that down. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So how do we get 2x? Well, you could just write it over 1. So what that means is here's our opposite, here's our adjacent, here's our hypotenuse. You can simply say that our opposite is 2x and our adjacent is just 1. Okay? So how do we solve for hypotenuse this time? You do the same thing. You use Pythagorean theorem. Okay? So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay? Again, c is our hypotenuse. So if we plug this in, we have 2x squared plus 1 squared. And we're solving for c, which is our hypotenuse. So we're just going to do c, and we're going to write it as square root. Okay? The only thing left that I could do is just simplify this. So this would be the square root of 4x squared plus 1 equals c. So that's our hypotenuse. Okay? So this is literally following the same procedures and steps as we did in the previous. Again, we don't have to remember a quadrant because of our value. Okay, our angle is 2x. So all I have to do is draw a triangle. So, okay, so now that we have this, now I can work with the outside, cosecant of u. Okay, so let me use a different color and let me move this whiteboard. Okay. Sorry, between the title and the directions, it takes up a lot of my room. So from before, you know that cosecant is the same as hypotenuse over opposite. Because remember, cosecant is basically the reciprocal of sine. Okay. So if this helps you remember this, then that's how you do it. Okay, so when we solve for cosecant, we want to write it as hypotenuse over opposite. So I'm running out of room here. Okay, so I'm gonna have to erase this, guys, because I don't have any room here. So cosecant of u, equals hypotenuse, and remember this is our hypotenuse right here. So square root of 4x squared plus 1 over opposites, okay? And opposite is 2x. And this is going to be our algebraic expression. See, we don't have an exact value like we did in example 7. It's an expression. Okay. All right, awesome. Hopefully you were able to follow me, and we're going to go ahead and do one more. All right, here we go. Last example, tangent of our cosine of 2x, okay? So again, I'm going to try to go a little bit faster for this one. So I'm going to make all of this u, and remember u represents our cosine of 2x, and I can rewrite that as cosine of u equals 2x, and cosine is the same as adjacent over hypotenuse. So if cosine of u is just 2x, then that sort of means that you can make your hypotenuse 1, okay? That means adjacent must have been 2x. So what we want to draw is a quick right triangle, okay? And again, I'm just going to call this u down here. Again, I could call it over here, but I just keep it the same, okay? And then this is our adjacent, our hypotenuse, and our opposite, okay? So our adjacent is 2x and our hypotenuse is 1. So how do we solve for the third sign in a right triangle? Again, the Pythagorean theorem. So let me lift this up a bit so I can have more room. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I'm going to make a my opposite because remember these are the legs. So this is the same as saying a squared plus 2x squared equals 1 squared, okay? And again, I'm just going to go a little bit faster, but you should be able to do it yourself, okay? A equals 1 squared minus 2x squared, and we want the square root of that, okay? So I'm going to simplify this, and I should be able to get the square root of 1 minus 4x squared. And again, that is our opposite. Okay, so remember that. Okay, so I want the tangent of u. So tangent of u. And remember, tangent is TOA, opposite over adjacent. Okay, so our opposite side, that's what we just solved for. So that's the square root of 1 minus 4x squared. And our adjacent is 2x. And that's our final answer. Okay. Square root of 1 minus 4x squared divided by 2x. Okay. And that's it, guys. So for the checkpoint, they only give us 1, but that's okay. You guys can look over the 2 examples that they give us right underneath example 8, okay, because I didn't do any of those. All right, so go through all the examples, all the checkpoints, and you can always try the odds. I gave you all the evens, so I think you should have more than enough problems to do. If you have any questions at any time, please pause the video, jump back in the chat and ask, okay? All right, boys and girls, you can start with your homework.